So we have our next speaker, Mr. Munish Malik. So Munish Malik is a lead product consultant and product coach at Equal Experts with over 18 years of experience in product management and agile delivery across several industries. Munish has played a key role in helping organizations build their product management capabilities through user-centric development guided by design thinking and research-led techniques. He actively fosters a culture of learning by organizing product tank meetups in Delhi NCR and has spoken at leading agile and product conferences including Agile India, AOTB UK, Agile Mumbai, Agile Kolkata and Product Tank. And today he will be talking about the topic AI Supercharging Product Management, Go Beyond Yourselves. So over to you, Manish. Thank you.
Cool. Hey everyone, can you hear me well? It's good to be back in Pune. I have very good memories. I've lived in Pune for almost 15 years, and I was just telling somebody that I look for an excuse to come back to the city. So, yeah, thank you so much. It's lovely to be here. So, getting into AI and getting into product management. So, I'll be talking a bit about how AI supercharges product management. And let's start with a bit of history. As you saw in the previous presentation by Dr. Yogesh, that AI is not new. And he was talking about AI that it's been going on since, the word has been coined since about 1950. I would take that even further back. You'd be amazed that people have been talking about AI, machine learning. They've been fascinated. Human beings in general have been fascinated with that. And there were already movies and books that were getting written in the 1920s. In 1920, in the movies, there used to be no voice. I don't know whether you remember that or not, in the Charlie Chaplin movies. But even then, there were movies about artificial intelligence. There were movies about robotics, where we were always fascinated with robots behaving like humans. Like there was a movie called Metropolis in 1927 that spoke about where a group of industrialists to go against their workers' union, created a robot that looked exactly like the humanoid robot that looked exactly like the workers' union's leader, and that led to a lot of chaos. RUR, so Rossum's Universal Robots, was a play in the 1920s which spoke about robots being used for factory and being used for all kinds of activities. But as and when robots were getting used for these activities, they also kept getting more and more mature, kept getting more and more self-aware, and eventually ended up annihilating the whole mankind, barring just one human being who was remaining. Some of you may have seen the artificial intelligence movie by Steven Spielberg, where they created a child who was a robot who developed feelings of affection towards his mother. Some of you may have also have fond memories of Small Wonder. Yeah, any Small Wonder fans here? Right, where they kind of bring a child to their homes who exactly behaves like a human, but then is actually a robot. I can go on and on. There's Blade Runner. There's do androids dream of electric sheep, where there is robots have kind of taken over, and people are kind of going and finding out who is the robot, who is a human being, and trying to eliminate the bad robots. Are we headed in that environment? I don't know. But I will tell you that AI is definitely here to stay, right? But here's a question for all of you. From being very fascinated with AI since 1920s, and he spoke about a conference in 1950 where the word officially got coined as artificial intelligence, what has suddenly changed that AI is now everywhere? Yeah.
Okay, so whatever algorithms and mathematics which we are using for AI right now, it has been existing for past 30, 40 years already. But the reason it's booming right now, because there were two things which we did not have back then. First was the data, amount of data, because for that algorithms to train and everything, we need a huge amount of data. Secondly, the hardware. So thanks to NVIDIA, now we have really transformed our hardware, and because of that, now we can process that data. So for these two reasons, AI is now finally boomed properly.
Yes. very close to what I had in mind as well. So Tim Hartford is a famous personality in the UK, and I attended his talk at MTPCon in 23, and he spoke about a toilet paper principle. Anybody knows what is that? So he says, for a technology to become truly innovative, it has to be as cheap and affordable as a toilet paper. Okay? And once a technology becomes that cheap, then is when you actually start to see its use case at a scale. So has AI become as cheap as a toilet paper? I don't know. Maybe not yet. But it is definitely going in that direction where the amount of efficiency, the amount of computing efficiency that is happening in weeks and months and years is exponential. So 30 years ago, to do what what a prompt does right now, you would probably need a room like this with a lot of supercomputers for it to be able to do these kind of activities. And now, with the kind of computing efficiencies that we have gained, more and more AI is now becoming accessible and is reaching everybody's hands. With a $20 plan, you can get access to almost the latest models. With a free plan, you have an access to ChatGPT and Meta AI and Gemini and Claude free models anyway. So yes, that's the main thing that has changed. So it is important for us to start to see how do we get friends with AI? How can we use AI to our advantages? How can we use AI to leverage our product management craft? So hi, my name is Munish Malik. I work at Equal Experts as a product consultant, and I'll be going a little bit into this idea today about how we can use AI to up our product management game. Although AI can be used in several use cases, I'll be focusing on 3 very important ones for product. The first one being how AI can help us boost productivity and help us make accurate, more effective and efficient decisions. And I'll be talking about in the realm of discovery and prioritization. How many people are kind of product managers, business analysts, technology leaders over here? Show of hands. Right? So it is very important for people who are in the product space to help their technology teams build the right thing. Right? Look around, you'll see so many products, so many features that nobody's even using. How can we ensure that we are doing product discovery in a way that we are building the right thing? So I'll be talking a little bit about that, how AI can help with that. AI can be a great partner when it comes to creativity and storytelling. As a product manager, as a product leader, or as a technology leader, you will be at several times in a position where you have to help communicate your ideas visually to other people. And how can AI help you with that? Or for instance, how can AI help you with some amazing innovative storytelling? We'll talk a bit about that. And towards the end, we'll also talk about how we can use AI to some very unique needs, some specific needs. Like as a product manager, I have my needs. In your roles, you may be having your specific needs. So I'll be giving you some examples on how we can tailor make our models, fine-tune our models to work in the use cases that work in our context, right? So AI is trying to scrape data all over the world, learning from data all over the world, and you might be wanting it to behave in a certain fashion or only look at this specific data. How we as people who are just using AI can fine-tune it to our context. So we'll talk a bit about that. Okay, so let's explore. So I thought I'll use a real example. In the previous talk, there was also, in the prompt engineering, there was this thing around using some context, using a role. So here, as a product manager, I'm exploring the opportunity to build a fitness app specifically designed for busy professionals. And preliminary conversations and preliminary user research that I had access to has indicated that busy professionals struggle to find time for workouts. All right? And the challenge that I see as a product manager is that the insights that I've gathered and the preliminary user research that I've done, these insights feel anecdotal to me. Right? I cannot just go ahead and start spending thousands of dollars to build a product just because these kind of insights are coming from a certain area, I need to have more research done to be able to confirm that there is significant market gap here, right? So if a product leader is in a position, you can imagine they would want to do a solid, structured market research to validate that is this genuinely a gap, or maybe a gap is slightly different. Is this the right demographic that is struggling with this kind of a need, or the demographic is different, right? So, so I'll talk a little bit here also about getting into this research. So AI also has had a journey, and this journey is going very, very fast. I don't know whether you remember, less than a year ago probably, we were still kind of getting exposed to the speed over depth kind of AI. If you were accessing the ChatGPT 3.5 model, for example, you will notice that it works, you kind of ask question and it just spits out an answer immediately, right? Most of the times it's right, sometimes it's also hallucinating, but it's try to look at the knowledge that it has, and then gives you, I mean, in the previous talk, it showed how technically it's working under the hood, but on the user side, as a consumer, you see the answers coming out straight up, right? A lot of times those answers may not be accurate, but the way the AI is responding to you, it makes you think that it knows everything. But a lot of times it does not. Or a lot of times it might be hallucinating, a lot of times it might be giving you a wrong answer based on its own assessment. So AI going forward started to reason. So if you looked at the O1 model, or the DeepSeek, or Perplexity is also launched integrated with DeepSeek to do some reasoning behind it, it presents a chain of thought, right? It tells you, what am I thinking? Oh, you've given me that, I'm thinking this, 1, 2, 3, multi-step, and based on that, I'm giving you this answer. When we ask complex questions to each of us, do we give answers in that same second? We take some time to think. The more complex the challenge is, the longer time we end up thinking about it. Similarly, it is important for AI, the intelligence to work properly, for it to reason, for it to think, and not just think, tell us what it's thinking. So the new models that have been launched, they have a reasoning angle to it, and it presents to you a chain of thought, so you can see how those models are actually thinking. And then you can say, you know what, you were thinking like that. You can talk to it like you have somebody on the other side, but I want you to think like this. And then maybe it'll give you a more accurate answer than it would have previously given you. And it also understands your context much, much better. And come to today, things are changing so fast. The deep research is now the next thing, where it's taken reasoning to the next level, where ChatGPT says, or OpenAI says, deep research is something which allows you to do multi-step research on internet for complex tasks. It says that with the deep research, you have an agent that can do work for you independently. You give it a prompt, and ChatGPT will find, analyze, and synthesize hundreds of online resources to create a comprehensive report at the level of a research analyst. Do you see how powerful and mind-blowing this is? It's giving you a well-structured, in the format that you want, a research report at the level of a professional research analyst, sometimes even better. And I'll show you some examples. There are times where, if I were to do the kind of deep research it's happening right now, it takes me weeks and definitely days. Whereas ChatGPT or Perplexity or DeepSeek, or where deep research is now available, you would be able to see that it's able to give that output to you in 10 minutes, or sometimes even less than that. And not only that, it cites. So if you see a professional research, it tells you its research, and along with that, it also cites its sources. It tells you based on from what it has given you this answer. And now all of that is possible through deep research, and we'll see some examples about it. It's not a prompt engineering lecture, but I'll still give you some tips which I find very useful, especially if you are in a stage, if you want ChatGPT to conduct, or for that matter, the AI LLM of your choice to conduct deep research, you can structure your prompts in this 4 fashion. I call it OSID because we all love abbreviations. So it helps us to just recall how we perhaps can structure our fonts. The first is define the research objective. Tell what you want your AI to do. So for me, I wanted AI to, as a product manager, validate if a market gap exists of a fitness app targeting Indian professionals, or if you see what I put in the end, that based on the research that it will do, if it thinks that there is a more promising demographic, then it should tell me that, right? I don't want AI to just run in one direction when there is an opportunity existing somewhere else. I also wanted to analyze my direction, and then also tell me if my direction is right or wrong, and if there is other more promising direction available. So tell your objective very, very clearly if you want your AI to do research for you. Second, specify the scope. For me, the scope is I wanted it to focus on Indian professionals, analyze both domestic and global apps popular in India, and include broader wellness features beyond specific workouts. 3, key areas of interest. What are my areas of interest? So I'm very interested to understand the audience. I want to understand what the market size is, what their fitness habits are, what are the barriers to fitness, right? Only if I understand, like, is language a barrier? Is cultural sensitivity a barrier? Is time a barrier? Why are all of us, or why are the Indian young professionals not being able to do more fitness-related activities? I want to understand that. I want to understand the market trends. Okay, fair enough. You'll tell me the user needs, but is there a market opportunity here? What is the scale at which the industry is growing? And then also tell me competitors. I don't want to do something that the competition has already done, or the competition is doing, or are there any gaps that it can help me find out? And then not just that, deliver me the report in a particular fashion. Like, I like tables, I like bars, I like charts. So provide me your assessment in that particular fashion, okay? So I'll demonstrate very, very quickly to you. So by clicking on this, it'll take you to the research that I have done, but I've already opened it in another tab, so I'll quickly show that to you. So as you can see, I gave it a research objective, which I told you already that as a research manager, I want you to do these activities. The similar thing that I showed you in the previous slide, the scope, the key areas of interest, and the deliverables. Now, the interesting thing is, even if you're 2 things you should take away from here. There's a lot of talk about prompt engineering, and there's a lot of, which is important, but you can always use AI to not just give you the answers, but also tell you the right prompts. So even if you're not very good in writing prompts, you can just ask AI, this is the kind of work that I want to do. Don't open, with deep research, you can only do deep research 10 times in a month. It's very, very expensive. The amount of computing that's being used to give you deep research by OpenAI, it's immense. So right now, it's not, you don't have it at your disposal. You can only, if you're on the Plus plan, you can use it 10 times. I think Perplexity is more liberal about it at this point in time. It's opened up for free right now. But you can also use standard 4.0 model, and or if you have O1 access, just ask ChatGPT also to help you write good prompts. Although I told you the OSID, or objective, scope, interest areas, and deliverables, but even though I gave ChatGPT that, it asks me, hey, could you give me some more answers? Do you already have specific fitness habits? Should I prioritize certain data sources? And if you notice, like I've already told it, it should not be giving me any bias research. I don't want to be looking at research that's been funded by my competition. And if it is giving me that kind of research, it should tell me that, hey, you know what, I've done this research, but it is actually, there could be some angle of bias there. I wanted to tell me that. So I gave them all those answers, and just look at the kind of output that it provided to me. It did this opportunity analysis. It looked at the target audience validation and unmet needs. It talks about lack of time being the #1 reason why Indian adults don't exercise. It also gives some examples of 66% of women and 38% of men cited lack of time as a barrier. So the problem seems to be more prominent with the women. There is angle of current fitness habits. So 67% of Indians who exercise choose basic activities like brisk walking, and it goes on and on. It talks about technology adoption that it asked to give me, provide me. It also provided me some unmet needs and opportunities. I can keep going on and on. So it talks about the market landscape and consumer trends for me to understand how lucrative this business is going to be for me if I get into that. It does competitive analysis, so it gives me some competitors like Healthify Me. It talks about what their user base is, what features and value propositions do they have, and similarly so on and so forth. Towards the end, it also gives me a key takeaways and recommendations. I gave it a follow-up prompt. Again, we don't have time to go all of this, but this is highly insightful. I have all those 25 sources that it has looked into. Of course, now I'm a research consumer, didn't have to do all that research myself, but I would of course want to study the research properly to ensure that ChatGPT or any AI that we are using has done a good job. Perplexity, on the other hand, I would highly encourage you to also use Perplexity for any kind of research or up-to-date activities, which is kind of competing with Google. So it's kind of a search engine, but at the same time, it has an AI or a reasoning angle also, or a deep research angle also associated to it. So again, I did the same thing on Perplexity. It gave me an executive summary right at the top. So hopefully this gives you a bit of an idea on a key use case that you can use for deep research, especially if you're in the product space. And if you go to OpenAI and look at their deep research announcement, OpenAI has given business examples, needle in a haystack examples, medical research example, UX design example. Like find evidence that shows that buttons with icons and labels are more usable than buttons without labels or labels without icons. I know there's a lot of user studies on it, would love on a detailed report along with a high level, once definitive answer on the effectiveness. So depending upon the field where you are, OpenAI has given examples on how you can use deep research to your advantage. So it's a big boon for product managers, especially if you are launching a new feature, launching a new product. You would want to do good amount of research for you to ensure that you have confidence in the direction in which you're going to. How much time do you have? I'll quickly speed things up. Yeah, okay, cool. Again, just because AI has given me the research, it doesn't stop here. I can use AI as my thought partner, as my collaborative partner throughout my journey of discovery until the time that I launch the product. I've even given you a few examples over here. So you can use AI to, so let's say AI gave me that, hey, you know what, this age group, these kind of professionals have this kind of a challenge. I've gotten that. Now, just because I've gotten that, should I, even though everything is perfect, I've done my assessment, now do I go ahead and build a product like that? I may want to validate it through my own network. So I probably contact 15, 20 people from that demographic, and then AI can help me, create those screener interviews. While those interviews are happening, AI can summarize those in real time for me and record those interviews and transcripts, and then after those interviews, tell me some common themes. Is it a lack of time during peak business hours? Is it looking for budget-friendly solutions? Is it people wanting to consume content in local language? Maybe some people don't want to engage in English, but rather, let's say, people want to engage in Marathi, and maybe that will help them be more fitness-oriented in their activities. Refining initial demographics and confirming feasibility. So maybe with the knowledge that I received, I'm able to refine my target demographic. And then I can also confirm from the business that do we have what it takes to build a product like that. Going on, I can even design a 200+ survey using AI. Then, of course, again, when we say use AI, we don't mean that you don't use your own mind, right? Think of AI as your collaborative partner. So you're using all of this at your own end and then using AI to help you refine those survey questions. And then there are tools like Qualtrics, SurveyMonkey, which will, if you create surveys using that, as and when responses are coming to you, it will do a real-time assessment to tell you whether those responses are accurate, spammy. It can already group common themes and help you analyze, interpret, and more importantly, find for you the top pain points based on that 200 survey, slotted in demographic cohorts, that these are the kind of people having, these are the kind of unmet needs. And if you've done some ideation and you presented them in those surveys, then coming and presenting those options to you, saying that these are the features that people will really like. Imagine all this being happening manually, how much time and effort that it takes. I did this experiment myself, and for example, a prioritized hypothesis that I got from AI at that point in time was, if we introduce a 15-minute guided yoga sessions with chanting in Hindi or any other local language, then 50% of small business owners like Anuj will adopt this routine at least 3 times a week, finding it both culturally resonant and manageable within their schedules. So that's the hypothesis that I could finally get to at, using the steps that I told you, rather than starting at such a vast ocean that what is the first thing that I should be building. And then of course I can use AI to build some prototypes. You use Claude, build some mock-ups, take it to the user, get some feedback. All right? So it's an immense help, a great collaborative partner in your journey of product discovery. It keeps giving me shock. Okay. Let's go on to the second segment, which is enhanced creativity and storytelling. So I'm giving you examples through 3 tools. Okay? One is Gamma, which is absolutely great for creating amazing presentations and websites and documents by just writing a prompt. Okay? And I'll also show you Midjourney. Actually, all these images that that you are seeing on my slides, I have created them myself on Midjourney by writing the prompts. So all the credit goes to Midjourney for the kind of images that you're seeing. If you're liking them, or if you don't like them, then the blame goes to Midjourney as well. And then I'll also show you Sora. Have any of you tried experimenting with Sora? So ChatGPT is also launched, OpenAI has also launched a feature where you can bring your ideas to life in a video manner. All right? So imagine if I'm a product manager and I have, through ideations, created some concepts. Then I would want to take those concepts to my team members or maybe to my business stakeholders to pitch them. So those are the kind of scenarios we'll explore today. So on Gamma, so I'm already going to show you one example. I'm happy to spend time later on to show you even more examples where just by writing a prompt, you can create some very, very fancy things. So what I did was, you remember the research that Perplexity gave me? And I'll show you some magic in real time, okay? So I just copy pasted that research here, because, or maybe changed some elements that I did not like, but ultimately, this is the research that we found do you see how comprehensive this is, right? Imagine if I were to pitch this research to my business stakeholders, maybe they'll find it too overwhelming, too much data. They would like to see it in some PPT format. So what I did was, I created it here. I said, I'm right now, you can do this on a free plan, by the way. I said, I'm writing for investors and stakeholders interested in the Indian fitness market, and I want the tone to be analytical, data-driven, professional, with charts and graphs, okay? So this is the research that I provided. I click continue. It says, okay, select a theme. So let's select a nice professional theme. I like it light. So maybe I'll go with this one. And I'll just click generate. Okay. I hope the internet is good here. Actually, one thing I missed showing, which I'll also show you, you can also select the image model that you want to use for images for you. All this is happening in real time, right? I've not created a video or anything like that. So let's look at what it has done for us, right? Fitness app, market opportunity, India's busy professionals is given a quick overview about what we are trying to do. This presentation analyzes the Indian fitness app market, focusing on opportunities for solutions tailored to busy professionals. It talks about the untapped potential, the busy professional segment, market need validated. It shares the demographic insights. It talks about how big the Indian fitness space really is and the rate at which it is predicted to grow, along with some bars and charts that I wanted it to do it for me. It talks about some variable tech fuels personalized fitness. It's given me some things that are working well, a perfect fit for professionals. It needs to have minimal equipment, limited space, time efficient. It talks about the competitive landscape. It's given me some suggestions in terms of what could be the differentiating factors that I can present if I would like to tap a market like that. It also talks about recommendations for market entry, key differentiators, etc. It expands the horizon alternative demographic options. See, this is so great. As I said, also tell me what could be my alternatives, right? And the research did that, and it's also ensured that that's an important content, and it's presenting that content to me in my deck. And it gives me a conclusion as well on how we can be successful, right? So just by, although I gave it a prompt, I gave the whole research, you can also get Gamma to do the research for you just by the prompt that we wrote in Perplexity. You can just write that prompt. It will do the research itself and also create a website or a presentation for you, right? But of course, for research, I wouldn't advise use Gamma for that. Use your research somewhere else and then use Gamma to help bring them to life. But it is possible. Like if you have something very plain and straightforward, Gamma can do that for you, all right? Let me show you. Now let's say I have found what I want to do, right? I want the young professionals to do some exercises when they are in the office, quick 10-minute exercise. That's the kind of product that I want. And I want to share that idea with my investors. What I do is that I go to Sora, and then I wrote this prompt, okay? Busy office, natural daylight, an Indian professional formal shirt doing jumping squats, jumping jacks, minimal disruption to work. Again, you might laugh or you might find this very funny. Of course, if you're wearing formal clothing, I wouldn't advise you to do it. But the idea behind this is that if you have an idea and if you want to bring that idea to life, you have tools available for you that can do that for you. All right? I'll show you one more example of Sora. So again, I did modern boutique shop in India, vibrant interior, a young Indian woman, store clerk on a short break does jumping jack besides a rack of trendy clothes. Environment signals minimal time but maximum energy. Dynamic, hyper-realistic. So again, all these prompts have a structure, all right? You need to give the right structure for the AI to give what you want. But as I said, remember, it's okay if you don't know the structure. Use AI to help you create those prompts and then use those prompts, all right? Are you finding this fascinating? My mind blew away when I said we have powers that are available like that, where we can put our whatever thoughts that you have, right? Any ideas, any crazy ideas that you have, you have tools available to bring those ideas to life that you can now use. We are all visual thinkers. We all like to see things visually, right? Sorry? SORA. SORA. So the Mid-Journey, hopefully all the images that you're seeing, I've created them using prompts on Mid-Journey, so I'll not go to a new Mid-Journey demo for you. Now I'm coming to my favorite topic as we're coming towards the end. Bring your own data. It's also called as Retrieval Augmented Generation, RAG, but I like to call it BYOD. I think it's more simple. Bring your own data. You can use your own data to tailor-make for your specific use cases, okay? So I spend a lot of time as a product manager doing design sprints, for example, right? Or I may be spending a lot of time building roadmaps or product backlog. And there is a certain kind of knowledge that I have gathered myself by working in this industry for now close to 20 years, right? But how can I be sure that I'm always using that knowledge, right? Sometimes you learn something and then that same knowledge kind of doesn't get back to you. And you may not want AI to always use knowledge that it has. You may want to influence answers with the knowledge that you prefer, right? So for example, what I have done is that I've created my own GPTs. After the workshop, if some of you are interested, we can have conversation on how to create GPTs. But I've created my own GPTs for instance, design sprints. I do a lot of design sprints, but I don't want to always redo the same thing over and over. So with the knowledge that I've created a personalized GPT myself, and then I am using that. I've trained the custom GPT. I'm calling it the design sprint sensei. Let's show that to you. Or for example, this is a question that, let's say I'm running on it. What are the key activities on each day of a design sprint? It says it's searching my knowledge. What it means is it's searching the knowledge that I have given it. All right? So that's the, I'm a big fan of Jake Knapp, who's kind of the founder of design sprints from Google Ventures. So I use a lot of his content in how I would like to structure my design sprints. So it's using that knowledge. But one more example that I'll give you, and actually I'll probably use Chris Matz, who is an expert in Agile. He is a very popular person in the BDD space. He's co-founded some aspects of BDD along with Dan North. And yeah, I also see him as my mentor. I've learned a lot from Chris by working with him at UBS. In the product side, in the product management side. And a lot of times, I would love to talk to Chris for things that I'm working on, but he's in the UK, he's not always available, he's doing his own thing. So based on the things that Chris has written, what I did is that I created a Chris Matz bot, whom I can talk to, who responds to me as if Chris would respond, all right? So I'm gonna let Chris talk about it himself. So I requested Chris to give me a short 2-minute video about AI in product, what is his take on it, and then we'll also give you a quick demo of the chatbot.
Hi Munish, hi all you product curious individuals out there. So Munish asked me just to share thoughts on AI and how it's going to affect product. So the answer is massive. It's going to be huge, huge impact. And I think the big difference with AI compared to other techniques is other techniques, the technique tells you what it's going to do. The problem with AI is that it just does everything, does loads of stuff, not everything, but just so much stuff that it feels like everything. And so my advice to you is to think of a problem that you're trying to solve and then just ask what your favorite LLM how to help you solve that problem. And then as you get the answers, get it to drill down. So give me an example of an image. What would a screen look like for my product? Those kind of things, and it's going to be great for that. And so there's going to be 2 ways that it's massively going to disrupt. Number one is in actually doing product. It will be very, very helpful as a tool to help product managers. Notice I'm not saying that AI is going to replace product managers, but it's going to be a great tool for product managers. And the other is embedding LLMs into our products. And here's my prediction: in 2 to 5 years, the vast majority of the interaction people will have with products will be voice activated. It will no longer be via a screen. You won't be entering your details. You'll be having a conversation with an LLM that will actually get all the data and details from you. If you've got any questions, you could call me. Alternatively, Munish has created an amazing chatbot. And I'm going to now just share that chatbot with you. Here we go. Can you see the chatbot? So this is the Papa Chris Matz bot, which is unofficial at the moment, but Munish and I are working on making it official. You can start off by asking it some questions like, can you explain the impact of culture on risk-taking in organizations? And it will answer as if it was me. It will give you a ranty, really angry answer to that, explaining how cultures have an impact. Alternatively, we might say, how might failureship impact product development? And here we go. There you go. Failure. Gift that keeps on giving. Mediocrity. Yep. So even got that snarkiness that I'm famous for as well. Anyway, thank you for listening, and I'll hand it back to you, Munish. Thank you.
Cool. All right. Hopefully you enjoyed that. Chris launching his own chatbot. Yes, so here is the chatbot. Do you want to ask Chris anything? What would you like to ask him? Anybody? We'll ask right now and we'll see what does he respond. So, yes, we can ask him that. However, one thing I wanted to give a caveat is that, so I put Chris's introduction. He's an expert in real options, risk management, agile product management, and impact of culture on effective outcomes. So these are the kind of questions that you would ask Chris, you'll get answers in that context, right? If you ask him a science, or you can ask him, so he will probably tell you that this is not something that he would enjoy. So yeah, what was your question? Maybe I'll talk that question to him. I'll use a voice mode.
Yeah, I was asking that we wanted to understand that do we need to code to create a chatbot like him?
Hey Chris, do we need to
And a
code?
splendid day to you too.
Okay, one sec. I think because of let's try again. Hey Chris, somebody is asking, do we need to code to create a chatbot like this?
Coding or anything of the sort. So here's my answer. I'm Virtual Chris Matz, a simulation of my own published thoughts. If it's not in my blog, it might as well not exist. You wouldn't ask an agile coach for a waterfall roadmap, would you? Try me on risk, leadership, or agile instead.
So you see, it's been trained to not give answers that Chris doesn't consider himself as an expert in, all right? So yeah, it doesn't have Chris's voice yet, but we're working on it.
Now that's an interesting twist,
Okay,
but
Chris is
sadly,
listening.
that whole holiday logic isn't part of my universe. If it's not from my blog, it's out of bounds.
Okay, cool. Thanks, Chris. All right, so this is something unique that I'm working on. Any of you need your own bots? Yes. How many people need their bots of somebody's knowledge that they would like to have their own, like always available for them all the time? Oh. Wow, that's great. And how many that's almost like 50% of the audience. And how many of you want your own bots? That you would want to give it to people? Okay, anyone? Anybody want their own bots? You would like to have one? You have one? Okay, cool. I'd love to connect with you. I'd love to connect with you. All right. So I have an AI learning group with Chris and with Barnaby, who is also an AI expert in the UK. We have a 2-minute video of Barnaby. Do we have 2 minutes? Okay. So Barnaby also, I asked him, sorry? Yeah, so I asked Barnaby about what is his view. So I work with Chris and Barnaby quite closely about AI and product. Would you be interested in listening to him? Yeah? Okay. So let's see what Barnaby has to say.
So I think that AI can help product management in many, many ways, but there are 3 ways in particular I think that stand out to me. And those are providing feedback, brainstorming, and role-playing. So in terms of brainstorming, we all know that AIs are not 100% reliable and sometimes they make mistakes. But when you brainstorm with an AI and you ask it for suggestions, it doesn't particularly matter if maybe one of those suggestions is not great. You know, if I get 10 suggestions back and 1 is poor but 9 are good, I just use the good suggestions. So I think that's a great use of AI. The other way I think is, the other use I think is very good is in terms of getting feedback. So you make a decision with your product management process. You can document your decision, put that into an AI and ask it for either general feedback or specific feedback. And it may be that it can tell you whether or not there are any particularly good aspects of the idea you've got, or it might be that it can actually highlight any potential flaws or areas that you need to improve in. And the third way, I think, which the AI is particularly valuable to product management, is in terms of role play. When you think about how challenging it can be to get feedback from your customers and arrange for meetings with customers, getting video conferences with them, etc. You can use AI to role play as personas, and those personas can give you instantaneous feedback on your product ideas. And I think this wouldn't be a replacement for talking to real customers, but it could be a way to get instant feedback and instant responses to maybe allow you to make decisions which would then perhaps lead to reaching out to real customers and investing time and money in arranging real conversations with them.
Cool. Hope you found those insights very helpful for your use case. Yep. All right, so thank you so much for attending. As I said, there are several more use cases. Hopefully I gave you the ones that I'm finding very, very insightful and relevant for product management. And yeah, happy to connect if there's something that I can help you out in your own environments. Yeah, I'm available after the talk, and we can have a chat about it. Cool. Thank you so much. I've been asked to put a Menti link as well. So this is the Menti link. If you'd like to connect me on LinkedIn or X, I've put those keywords as well. But yeah, I would appreciate if you can give me some feedback using the Menti link. Cool.
Thank you so much, Munish. I think the session was really interesting, and I loved the prompts that you had shared about the, specifically about the product research and discovery.
Nice.
Being a business analyst, I was personally looking forward to this session.
Great.
So even I'll be connecting with you after this session.
Great.
And I love
Happy
the
to.
bot.
Great. Thank you so much. Thank you so much.
So I request Swati to please felicitate Munish.
Thank you so much.
It was a pleasure.
Yeah, you enjoyed it? Yeah.